What's going on, guys? This your boy John the Liquidator coming back with another video, man. And we got a Shedeur Sanders update that you might need to listen to, man, because Shedeur Sanders is currently training up in Cleveland, Ohio, and he's training with somebody very, very legendary. And we got some trade news updates too. Make sure you guys subscribe to the tribe, hit that like button, and definitely make sure all them post notification bells is on. And we ain't gonna waste no time with this.
He wasn't supposed to be there. Not that day, not on that field. But when a legendary voice from Ohio State's past shows up to watch Shedeur Sanders throw, you already know something bigger is happening. Nobody warned the cameras, nobody warned the fans. One quiet Instagram post from a teammate changed everything in a matter of hours. Because standing on the sideline, watching every single rep, was a man who once ruled college football with an iron grip and a national championship ring. Jim Tressel, a name Ohio doesn't just remember, it reveres. And he wasn't there for a tour, he was there to watch one player, Shedeur Sanders. Let that sink in for a second. A former national championship coach, now serving as Ohio's lieutenant governor, carving time out of his packed schedule just to stand quietly behind a high school practice field and watch a young quarterback throw routes. That's not a coincidence, that's a message. Because in Cleveland, everything Shedeur Sanders does gets magnified. Every throw, every workout video, every whisper from someone close to the building. And this time, the whisper turned into a headline that spread across every football account within hours. The footage was simple, just a young quarterback slinging tight spirals into tight coverage windows. 5 throws, 5 bullseyes, eyes closed on the last one just to prove a point. But it wasn't really about the throws, it was about who was watching. Because when a legend like Tressel shows up unannounced, it means people are paying attention. It means the whispers about Shedeur's future in Cleveland are louder than the front office wants to admit.
We're going to get right into this story right now, and that is talking about Shedeur Sanders training with a legendary college football coach from Ohio. Yes, this right here has broken the damn internet. Let me see. Shout out to YMB Bug, man, for letting us see some of these highlights from Shedeur Sanders training today. And yeah, it looked like he's been training all week, man. Let me pull it up for you guys.
And that's where the story gets complicated. Because while Shedeur is out there grinding, putting in extra reps before the season even starts, the rumor mill back home hasn't stopped for a second. For months now, the noise around Shedeur Sanders hasn't stopped. Trade rumors, doubts about his fit, whispers that Cleveland drafted him more for the headlines than the long-term plan. Every time it looks like the noise is dying down, something reignites it. A cryptic tweet, an anonymous scout's quote, a national insider hinting that nothing is off the table. But here's what's wild. Just hours before this video of Shedeur and Tressel started trending, another story broke. A report claiming the Browns have no intention, none at all, of trading their young quarterback anytime soon. That right there should have ended the conversation. Instead, it added fuel to it. Because in today's football world, denial doesn't mean much anymore. Fans have learned to read between the lines. And in Cleveland, a city that's been burned by quarterback promises before, belief doesn't come easy. So when a former scout stepped into the conversation and flatly stated that Shedeur holds zero trade value in the league right now, it didn't just sting, it ignited an entirely new wave of debate. Half the fan base saw it as a hater trying to tear down a rookie before he's even been given a real shot. The other half saw it as brutal honesty nobody wanted to hear. And that's the tension that follows Shedeur everywhere he goes. Believers on one side, skeptics on the other, and him stuck in the middle, letting his work speak instead of his mouth. Because through all of it, the criticism, the trade rumors, the outside noise questioning whether he even belongs in that quarterback room, Shedeur has kept doing the same thing. Showing up early, grinding in silence, building relationships with the very same players and coaches some analysts swear will never trust him.
We all know how Shedeur get down, but it's this post right here. Shedeur Sanders, legendary coach Jim Tressel stopped by to watch the GOAT work today. Jim Tressel. So if you guys don't know who Jim Tressel is, let me pull up his resume real quick so we can get a good understanding about Jim Tressel. So Jim Tressel, James Patrick Tressel, is an American politician.
That's what makes the Tressel moment hit different. It wasn't staged. It wasn't a press conference. It was a legendary football mind quietly choosing to stand there and watch because something about what he saw was worth his time. And it's not just Tressel paying attention. Inside the Browns locker room, the energy around this new era has been building in ways the outside world hasn't fully caught on to yet. Take the emotional words from one of the newest defensive additions, talking about the phone call that convinced him to join Cleveland in the first place. He didn't talk about scheme. He didn't talk about money. He talked about family, about connection, about finding a coaching staff and locker room that felt like something worth fighting for. He described it as one of the most meaningful calls of his life, not because of promises made about wins and championships, but because of the human connection behind it, the kind of bond that gets built when two people find out they're chasing the same purpose for the same reasons. That's the piece casual fans miss when they only focus on stat sheets and trade grades. Locker rooms are built on trust long before they're built on talent. And right now, whether the outside world believes it or not, Cleveland is quietly building something behind closed doors. Still, none of that erases the pressure sitting squarely on Shedeur's shoulders, because unlike most rookies who get the luxury of learning in silence, Shedeur has never had that option. Every practice rep gets dissected. Every off-season workout becomes a headline. Every comparison to his draft classmates becomes a debate on national television. People forget how rare that is. Most young quarterbacks get months, sometimes years of quiet development before the real scrutiny begins. Shedeur has been under the microscope since the day he was drafted, and honestly, long before that.
Some Brown news that came out as well that really got me scratching my head. I want to pull it up for you guys real quick. And that is this right here. So, Football Forever posted this earlier today. It stated that the Browns have no plans to trade quarterback Shedeur Sanders, despite the ongoing rumors that could be dealt with in time. My understanding is they don't have any intention on trading Shedeur.
The doubts aren't new either. Scouts questioned his arm strength. Analysts questioned his fall-down draft boards. Media personalities built entire segments around whether his personality would translate to an NFL locker room. And through it all, Shedeur never flinched publicly. He let his training videos do the talking. That's why moments like this one, a legendary coach quietly observing his work, means so much more than they seem on the surface. Because respect from people who've seen greatness up close carries a different weight than social media praise. And here's something else worth mentioning. The kind of quarterback competition Shedeur is stepping into isn't simple either. It's not one storyline, it's several, tangled together. Veteran presence, rookie promise, a coaching staff known for building explosive quarterback play, and a fan base that's desperate, absolutely desperate, for the wait to finally be over. If you're new here, make sure you're subscribed, because this Shedeur Sanders story is only getting bigger from here, and you don't want to miss a single turn. Because what's coming next in Cleveland isn't just about who wins a quarterback battle. It's about whether this new era finally breaks a cycle of disappointment that's followed this franchise for years. The offensive mind guiding this transformation has built explosive quarterback rooms before, and insiders close to the building have hinted that what he sees in Shedeur's potential goes far beyond the highlight reels. It's about processing speed, anticipation, the ability to layer throws into tight windows most rookies wouldn't even attempt. That's the quiet confidence brewing behind the scenes, even while public trade rumors swirl and former scouts question his value. Because inside that building, belief in his ceiling hasn't wavered, even as outside voices grow louder.
Both are progress, and all the guys are doing a nice job. Yeah, 100%. I mean, you guys see our practice. Half of it, we're split in two fields anyway, so they get both, which is awesome. And then it's almost been dead even as far as rotating those guys. Getting familiarity with the receivers in each one of those groups is a big part of that, too. I don't know that we have somebody who's ahead. Like I said, we're pleased with.
So
And that contrast, the private confidence versus the public skepticism, is exactly why this story refuses to die down. Every time it feels like the noise should fade, something new happens. A workout video, a coaching quote, a surprise visitor on the practice field. Which brings us back to Tressel, because in football circles, especially in Ohio, his presence means something different than a random fan showing up to watch. He's a man who understands pressure, understands quarterback development, and understands exactly what it takes to build a winning culture from the ground up. For him to take time to specifically watch Shedeur throw, and for that moment to be shared publicly rather than kept private, speaks volumes. It wasn't about publicity. It was about respect. And respect is the one thing Shedeur has been chasing since the day draft night humbled him in front of the entire football world. Every workout, every training clip, every quiet grind session feels like a response to that moment, not with words, but with work. So here's where it leaves us. A young quarterback fighting through trade rumors he never asked for. A locker room slowly building trust behind closed doors. A coaching staff quietly confident in what they see, even while outside voices doubt it. And now, a legendary football mind choosing to stand on the sideline and witness it for himself. None of this guarantees anything. Football doesn't work that way. Trade rumors could resurface tomorrow. Critics could pile on again by next week. That's the reality of playing quarterback in a city desperate for stability. But if you strip away the noise, the headlines, the hot takes, and just look at what's actually happening on that field, you see a young man who refuses to let outside noise dictate his work ethic. You see coaches who believe in something bigger than a single season, and you see a legend willing to put his own reputation on the line just to witness it up close. Whatever happens next, one thing is clear. This story is far from finished, and whether the doubters want to admit it or not, Cleveland might finally be building something that lasts.